Hello there. Are we here? Is it me? I think it's me. Today was not not my most productive day, let's say. So, hi, I'm Scott. I think we're just gonna keep poking at the thing we've been poking at. I did put a little time into it, messing around with some lightweight render pipeline stuff. But first, why didn't anybody tell me about this? Let me find this thing. This. Why didn't anyone tell me there was a Twitch extension challenge with a $15,000 first prize in a 1-hour meeting with Twitch leadership? That doesn't really seem like that much of a, I mean, sure, a 1-hour meeting. Cool. I don't know. Maybe that's cool. I don't really consider a meeting a reward. But it's been going on for some months. I wish I had known. There's 1 month if I wanted to come up with something, and I'm about to get really busy, so I could try to just put together something insane. You know, we were doing all the like musical chat kind of things. Like maybe that could be something. The thing about it though is it has to use some AWS tool, like some AWS integration. And I was looking at all the available AWS stuff, and I don't know. I gotta think about this a little bit. Maybe something will pop into my mind because I am kind of interested in it, and I'm gonna teach a workshop soon that this would be kind of in the right realm for, I think. Draclin, oh my gosh, right on time. What am I gonna do for this challenge? I don't know what to do. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. Some weird thing. Anyway, what did I do? I played with the lightweight rendering pipeline some more. I came up with, first of all, I just needed a better, first of all, I mean to say, I just needed a better understanding of stencil buffers because it's not something I've used maybe at all in Unity before, or had used it as written by someone else. You know, I'd never really needed to understand them. So I have a better understanding of how the stencil buffer works. And got a little bit closer to the thing that I wanted. So that thing being that the outlines can appear in front of things. So like the arms are kind of independently outlined here, and that distracting problem of like background stuff shining through, I took care of. Very minor things, but I do feel like I have a better understanding. I don't feel like it's totally great yet. But I feel like I've gotten a little closer on that. So, but I'm also a little tired of just messing with rendering things because we've been poking at that kind of stuff for the last few streams. And there are some visual cleanup things that I was thinking of doing. The thing that just ended up being a bummer is I was like, okay, maybe I'll make some cool shaders for these planets because I'm interested in using the new shader pipeline stuff. But the problem is I mean the new, the shader graph that only works with the scriptable render pipelines. They can't do any stencil buffer or stencil stuff, which is kind of lame. So all this work that I did to do the outlines with some stencil nonsense, I can't do, which is kind of annoying. It's also annoying that you just can't, like, I don't know. It's just, maybe there's something I'm missing, but, because I don't even care about the stenciling part. I just want to always write to it. Anyway, maybe we can figure that part out. Who cares? Whatever. The thing that I was thinking we would do today, and I probably won't stream for too long, is maybe, like, make this thing do something. And I don't even know exactly what that is, but the thing I was kind of imagining is that when you're in this mode and you got your little buddy here, that if you pulled both triggers on the Oculus Touch controllers, you'd start to like form a ball of energy or something between his hands, and then when you'd push a button, you'd, like, I don't know, launch it, make it, I don't know what, maybe it turns into a planet or something like that. Hard to say. But I thought we could just go for it. So I think we can turn off VR stuff for a while because I'm gonna, I think, just do this with keyboardy input for the time being. Dracklin, how was your day? What'd you do today? Did you work on your little waddling guy? No, I've already broken everything. What have I done? Oh, I meant to delete all Oculus stuff. Because I did, oh, that's another thing. I did update to 2018.3.3, and it did fix that stupid .NET problem, which was good, but it still seems to have some Oculus problems, which is not good. It seems to semi-work okay, and there seem to be some workarounds, but there are some problems. So we need to do a couple things, I think. I think we need to turn off our little node tracker on the hands. Really, and the head too, probably. No, don't turn that off. Just turn off the tracker. Yeah, and then, yeah, okay. So I think we'll just kind of try to do something where, where did I put that? These are the two targets. Just do something where we like spawn something weird in the middle of the hands, right? Mr. Waddles, is that his name? It's a pretty good name. I'm kind of disappointed about that. I feel like every step of this, like experimenting with this new render stuff, I've just come and run into a brick wall of like, oh yeah, you figured out the stencil buffer stuff? Well, it's too bad you can't use it for the shader graph, but oh well. I was gonna try to make some cool little planet shaders. All this fuss for such a silly little outline effect. So I think we want to just have some kind of spawner. With a script called something like spawner. Did you tell me the end game for Mr. Waddles? That's not true. I can't remember if you told me. Is that going to part of your Scrabble game, or is that a different? Is this a different project? Okay, so spawner, and I think what we need is we'll just do like some simple input for now. Like the A key and the S key will be like if those are down. I've never really liked this input system. I do believe that Unity has new, I know they do, they have some new input stuff on the way, but I don't know when it will happen. Actually, let's see, is there a package for it? I think there is. New input system, which can be used as a more extensible and customizable alternative to Unity's classic input system and Unity engine input. So I'm pretty curious about that. It is still in preview world, but let's not get into that at the moment. Let's Overcooked. Don't call it a ripoff, call it a tribute. It's an homage. I like that, like an overload, because there's, what's the other one that's kind of in that realm? Space Team? Is that sort of in that, of just like overload too much stuff to do? I think that's becoming a genre of its own, where it's just not like a total ripoff of Overcooked. Oh, you've literally just implemented Overcooked mechanics. Okay, well, you know, you gotta start somewhere. I don't understand why this happens when I create a new. There's just still problems. If I totally reload the project, or like reload Visual Studio Code, then it's happy. It's happy, I guess. So we just need to do some silly things like And we'll just say something like, copy S. And then like if they're both down, whoa. We can't really just do that. We need to like know that our because we need to know the press and release, so we need to know like maintain some state. I would tend to agree with that for sure. Yeah, that I think Unity is an amazing prototyping tool just to get in and throw things together. And then yes, it is, but it is very easy to rabbit hole, like I have been, for example. But I think it's good, like that. My kind of approach, well, at least what I'm trying to do, is to, in a low pressure situation, like just making goofy stuff on a stream, familiarize myself with some of these new tools, so I don't have the pressure of like, oh, I have to actually deliver something, and I also have to learn how this new stuff works. So I'm willfully rabbit holing at the moment. But it's actually, there's a new thing. What's that new thing? Unity has a new. So there's been projects like Playmaker and Bolt that are like node-oriented, visual programming kind of systems for Unity. And Unity is working on, let's see, there's still, that used to be on the roadmap, was a like node-based kind of visual scripting. So this is still in research mode. So I'm interested in that. But what they did just announce was this like Unity for Kids. Unity Playground. I think it's kind of in the spirit of Swift Playground. Yeah, so it's for kiddos, I think, or for teaching. But it seems like it could also be used for just like useful for just prototyping really simple behavior. I have not looked at it deeply at all yet, but it seems like an interesting idea. I'm a little surprised that they chose to do this kind of I don't think this has any of the node-based stuff. Like, I think it's still just sort of, you know, weird Unity version of entities and components, game objects and components. I don't think it has like advanced concepts. I think it's just kind of inspector based. How does it just come with some handy little scripts? I need to look into that. It looks like a fun thing, maybe. I guess we need to like check against the state, like store whatever the previous state is with the new state, and something like that. So if they're both down, Bhutan. So all we're really are going to care about, at least initially, is to like for the state to change. Something like that. Yes, I definitely can. So I could do get button down, or this would be, I think, get key down. But I want to set it up in such a way that I can have it work independently of those. So, because I also want to have it work with like the key, test buttons on the keyboard and buttons on the touch controllers, and also the state change wouldn't necessarily happen only when one thing changed. It would only happen if you already have one. Like if I press one, I don't care. I only care when I press another one. So I really only care if the state of both of them changes. So I think I need to maintain them independently. I probably could rewrite this in the way you're describing. I mean, using those methods, but I think maintaining these independently will make it a little bit easier for me to extend. I might be wrong about that. So basically just separating the logic of figuring out the state and reacting to that state and like maintain those separately is at least what I'm thinking. So this, the only place you'd ever spawn is here. Spawn thing, destroy thing. So what we will do is we'll spawn the prefab, we'll store it in the instance. In this case, it'd be like spawn instance equals, how are we going to maintain the position of this? We'll need references to both hands. Oops. Why do you autocomplete my typos? Pervert. Just never like this whole paradigm of like every frame in a loop watching for that. I like event-based kinds of input, but here we are. Maybe we'll totally redo this in some other way later on. Yeah, so we will instantiate the prefab. That's good enough for now. Actually, can I set the parent in this? I thought there was a, yeah, if you give it. Okay. No, I got a new chair. I got a new chair, Draclin, but this chair's giving me grief. Woeful, woeful. So I have some chronic problems with my back and hip related to some injuries, and so I convinced myself, like, if I'm gonna get a chair, I should get a nice chair that is good for my body. And so I was really interested in Herman Miller and in Steelcase chairs, because I was like, well, if I want to get a nice chair, I want to get a really nice chair that is hopefully treat me well and last for a really long time. And so, you know, one of the gold standards of that kind of office seating is the Steelcase Leap, is one of like the all-stars. Actually, let's go to the store. So I was looking at that thing, but it's a $1,000 chair, and it's hard to, man, that's a hard thing to justify. And so I'd been looking at it at the Steelcase Leap. It's a beautiful chair and it feels so good. And then there's the Amiya, I think it's called. Not the Amiya Air, it's a different Amiya. Anyway, some other one that was a little more mid-range. And so I tried the two of those. Clearly the Leap was way better. And I was just finally like, okay, I got ready to buy a chair. And there was a coupon and I was ready to go. And then suddenly Steelcase announces this chair. And I'm looking at it like, oh man, it's a fraction of the price. It seems to do all the things that you want it to do. It seems to be the chair of my dreams. And then I ordered it and it like actively hurts my body. It's so disappointing. I think it's like just the shape of my length of my torso or something with the way this chair is designed, but I think it is in some ways this very costly chair is worse than my old wooden chair. So I'm just waiting for the moment that one of these other nicer chairs goes on sale or I can find some deal or something. I do have a friend who's like a Steelcase distributor because he buys furniture for work. There's the Amiya 700. What was this Amiya Air? Is that new? I can't be seduced by these lesser chairs. I need to just do it. I need to just get the $1,000 chair and just know that, or feel confident that it will not ruin my body. What about these $1,000 plus chairs? The gesture is apparently also very good. Look at the gesture with the headrest. A Leap Plus, I don't even know what it means. Anyway, yeah, my chair situation is a little sad. And I fell prey to the siren song of what seemed to be a good deal. I'm so bad at buying things. It is so hard for me to buy things. I agonize about it forever. And then, yes, I still am unfortunately having some buyer's remorse. Get this beautiful Leap. Get this Buzz 2 fabric. I don't know, maybe I'd make it fancy. I don't think I would actually. I have decided though that it is not worth $60 to buy these ridiculous armrests I got. Hardwood floor wheels, yeah. $150 for a headrest. I don't know about that. I can at least enjoy my chair in 3D. 28 to 35 days. Why does it take so long? Look at that beautiful chair. Beautiful. Pumpkin fabric, platinum frame. Why does that one take so long? Maybe I need a gesture. How long does a gesture take? 4 to 5 days for a gesture. Maybe this is actually the one. I don't know what I would do if I paid this much for a chair and it hurts me. I don't know. I can't even think of it. I need to go like test drive them. Anyway, yeah, chair woes, silly problems, but disappointing. Okay, and then in this case we will just do a what's the syntax for this? We call destroy. And then the thing to do really is then maintain a so that is about this is all about like create and destroy. This is all about yeah, this stuff will all be is there a really easy way to average a position like that? Like to get like I want a vector between two other vectors. Is there anything? So add the two. No, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, two non-unit vectors. Two vectors with different magnitude. Oh, I can just lerp between them. That's an easy way. Okay, let's do that. That's easy enough. I was making it too complicated. So we need to do something like why does it if we have a spawn instance dot transform dot local position. Do you really want that to be the local position? Maybe. I don't know if you can do that for would that work? That would work for unit vectors, but would that work in this case? Because if they were both positive and you added them and divided by 2, would you really be between them? Like that's what I wasn't entirely sure of that. If you could just average them. That seems intuitively like it would be right, but what I was just looking at recommended just a lerp between. What? How did I spell that? Oh, in an insane way. That was my problem. And don't worry about rotation. Don't worry about scale yet. So for now, let's just make a thing. What's your problem? I keep deleting Oculus and it gets recreated? Why? And why do I not have the Unity one installed? John Carmack save us. John Carmack will be our savior. Speaking of John Carmack, did you see that ray traced Quake 2? It looks pretty crazy. I don't know that it justifies getting a new RTX card, but pretty cool. I like that Quake in general just... Was it actually Quake 2 or was it just Quake? Now I can't remember. Now I have to look. Yeah, it was Quake 2. I like that Quake and Quake 2 are still like relevant. They still matter. Okay, so I need what? What are you doing, Unity? Are you adding Oculus files against my will? Don't do that. Why? Why is it doing that? Maybe that's part of the integration problem. Oh, okay. Anyway, let's just make a thing that is like a little sphere, maybe. What do we want to call this thing? Just kind of a baby. So then the idea is that we have a baby and we have the left and right hand. What's cooler than the ray tracer is seeing it without the noise. It's so funny because there's some aspects of it that look so good, and some aspects seem just, I mean, you know, it's still Quake 2, but like that. I love the way those particles look. Those explosions. I guess that's actual geometry. Those are particles. Like those explosions look good, and the way they illuminate everything looks really good. What a weird thing. It's pretty cool. Half-Life with that kind of rendering. What will happen to Half-Life? Will anything ever happen again? Okay. So I almost certainly did this wrong. What is your problem? I seem to be in a bad state related to Oculus stuff. Can I... destroy it while Unity's not running? Is it just going to reinstall it? Valve's progression is super interesting. I remember like what a weird thing it was. Now you don't even kind of think about it, but what a weird thing it was when like the rumor was like, yeah, Valve's hiring economists. They care about running economies, which obviously did very well for them with Dota, but seemingly is not going so hot with Artifact. And now, I mean, you know, that's totally separate from being the biggest game store in the universe, but even that is kind of threatened now. There's these numbers for the Epic launcher where there's some huge proportion of people with Epic accounts that don't have Steam accounts. And you presume that like, oh yeah, maybe those are like youngish kids playing Fortnite that don't have a Steam account. But that means like Epic is in charge of their concept of gaming before they even really know what Steam is, maybe. Like it's a probably an uncomfortable position to be in for Valve. What have I done? What script is? Get out of here. Look how happy he looks. Okay, so I can hit the A key. When I hit the S key, I get a thing. When I let go of the S key, so this seems to do the thing that I want. And then if I move the hands around, this should stay. Oops. Oh man, that counts as a, oh dang it. That counts as a key release by changing that window. That's gonna make this a little annoying to test. How am I gonna test that? Okay, it seems to be working. Well, I know it's a weird thing. I mean, it's been nice. I'm just weird about that because I, like, without even meaning to, am sensitive about my Steam collection. Like, that's where my games are. And it's weird for me to now, even just in getting a Switch and a PS4, it's kind of weird to be like, oh, now I have these other places where games live. And then, although in the process of that, I've sort of found like, oh, there's actually some things I like way more about these other platforms. But yeah, with man, I mean, right, like Epic Launcher, or is it still Battle.net, or I mean, whatever any of the Uplay, whatever any of the other ones are. It's pretty weird. The fragmentation is kind of a bummer, and in some ways, from the consumer perspective, like on the one hand, it's always good to have competition in a space. On the other hand, this is starting to feel a little bit like what has happened with like streaming content providers, where it was like everybody hates their cable companies. Great, I'll just get a Netflix subscription or whatever. But then it's like, okay, you have to have Netflix and Hulu and this and this and this and this, and then by the end of that, you're paying more. Like it's not ideal. But then there's people in places like Discord, right, is trying to be a game launcher where it doesn't even sort of matter what 10 services you got your games from, but you can launch everything from there. And I guess they have some amount of storeness there too. I know, commercial spec. I know it's a not the best experience for the user. Okay, so we can now manifest a ball. So there's that. And then the next thing we would want to do is maybe, if it's always one unit, figure out the scale based on the magnitude of that. I don't want distance. I just want a scalar value. I guess that would be the distance between... I mean, this is a float? Yeah. What's your problem? Oh, something like that. Ooh, I just saw something I didn't like. Where that hand was positioned. Okay, so that's big. That's littler. Little. Very little. Probably never really want it that big. We probably want it like, to give it a max size and maybe scale that. That's just silly. Where is that thing? I'm never gonna be able to find it. Oh no. I need a way to just toggle that too. I need a way to like a button that just does invert. So this will be so I can do the AB thing, but then I want to, I think, also have a an alternative to just kind of toggle the, in fact, we don't need, let's just make a little toggle. We'll come back to that logic for the actual buttons, but for now, maybe we just have a so we would basically want to say like now get key down keycode.t, and then that will just invert I got some extra something going on here. Okay, now we can toggle also with a single key press if we want. So yeah, let's make this never bigger than 1 unit. And what? And scale it. Min. It's so little. That's too little, really. We don't need to scale it if we're gonna have a max. Still need to figure out something about the orientation of the hands with the VR rig, and I just don't know how to do that in Final IK. I might need to send a little love letter to the developer. Like this, I'm not crazy about this. The pluses need to be on a different, so if I did this correctly, I should be able to grab one of the pluses and set their render, their stencil reference to 1. Yeah, cool. Okay. So I make a little guy, and then if I move the hands around, whoop. Really, even when it's squished down, I always want it to be a percentage of the size. So maybe just not as dramatic. Yeah, the hand orientation stuff is going to be pretty important, I think. That doesn't seem to have quite done what I wanted it to do. Would that be the radius, the local scale? I mean the diameter. Oh well. So we got the general idea here, I think. And then the idea would be that you'd trigger something else to, I don't know, throw it away, launch it into space. I don't think it's just gonna happen when you let go. I think you need to hold both triggers and pull the triggers in and out, and then when you get what you want, and maybe you can even like play with the remotes on it while you're doing the thing, then you can, yeah, maybe that's what you do. You like make the thing and you've got it in front of you and you're messing with it with buttons and knobs or whatever, and then when you're ready, then you click the button, and that is what fires it. Maybe. I don't know. Did that do something weird with the stream? I wonder what just happened on the stream when I accidentally just locked my computer. Did the stream keep happening? Seems like it did. That's funny. Did it just keep the camera going but hide the desktop? That's pretty weird. I don't think I've ever done that before. Well, Vix, how's it going? The scene switched. Yeah, I think I just locked myself out and then I was looking at the nice login screen. Vix, did you change your name color? Oh no, I forgot. I was supposed to do. I don't know. I didn't remember it being purple. I thought it was a blue color, but I might be totally wrong. I told Life Is Yours that I was gonna switch to the like low latency streaming mode, so it'd be easier to talk to everybody. Oh man, you're gonna stream tomorrow. Awesome. What are you gonna stream? Well, you've clearly, now that you're going to be a professional streamer, you've switched to Twitch purple. More professional color. I guess we could go look at a stream from a couple days ago and see what color your name was. Live illustration, cool. In the art, Twitch art. I'm still kind of confused about this whole change where they got rid of Twitch Creative. A little weird. Feels weird. I don't know where to put this stuff. I put it in science and technology, but was that the right answer? I don't know if that was the right answer or not. Live illustration in Corel Painter. Cool. What kind of illustration work do you do? So I think when we do this, we get rid of that and then it won't be deleted. And then we need to do something to like tell it to go, like to say farewell. So we probably need to have a like a baby script, and then the baby will know how to do something. Like maintain some I guess we could do it with physics, but I don't think so. I think we just make a baby script for the baby. Perfect plan. Do an old sketch, do clean up of an old sketch while awkwardly eating and making ASMR voices. Please, yes. Make the ASMR noises with your mouth full too, so it's like especially it's just especially, it's especially special. Okay, I don't know why this is called the baby, but it is. And the baby will exist, and the baby will have a launch method. I have this weird cat meme in my head. This the baby is hungry. This is what I'm thinking of. If you could get in a little high chair like this while you do your stream, I think that would really help. In fact, I may start streaming like this. The baby is hungry. Thanks. I really don't know what I'm doing with this thing. It has certainly come along. It's definitely getting more. I keep changing things about it, but it's becoming more like how I would like it to be. Although now I'm a little irritated with myself because I finally got the outlines kind of working, and only to realize that it kind of ruined my plans for all of the other shading I was going to do. But oh well, it's not that big of a deal. It's stuff that didn't need to be real-time shading anyway, so no big deal. Hello, Chubby Bum Goblin. That is quite a name. Sorry, it feels like makes me wonder if are you a goblin with a chubby bum, or are you like a bum goblin that's chubby, or the world may never know. The world maybe shouldn't know. The world maybe it's safer if we don't know. So we have a baby now, and the baby can be launched. And if launched is true, I don't know what we'll do. We need to just like some kind of launch vector. Can you make a, is there a vector3.random? That would be handy. Launch, public launch. Launch equals void. And launch vector equals, is there a random? Random vector 3? I saw it in there. That how it works? That seems like not right. How does that work? How does this work? I don't want to do it the way that makes sense. I want to do it in a way that doesn't make sense. Random inside unit sphere. That's kind of a random. That's a random that'll do. Just a random direction. I don't really want that, but it'll do for now. Transform position. That'll be weird. And then, you know, when we're done, we will do like baby equals is this the right answer? What? What are you complaining about, Unity? What is baby? Baby's the little baby you make. Inside, oh, you're telling me what I had a window open while you're telling me what to do, Jacqueline. Baby is the baby that you're like, you're gonna make this little baby. I don't know if it's a new planet or what, but it's the little thing that you make, that the sun is gonna make and then set free. Maybe? So we'll like make a baby and then we'll launch the baby. Probably the baby shouldn't like go through our face. Kind of thinking, you know, we could like make our own little weird musical planets or weird little shapes and then send them out into the universe and have like an outer space rave. Maybe. Where'd all the babies go? They're just flying off into the sky. Goodbye, babies. Okay, so I should be able to do oh man, this is annoying. We definitely need a baby rave, no question. The Unity XR input stuff, like the way it is mapped is not great. Maybe it's better now. Oh yeah, look, a chart, much better. Good grief. X or A, Y or B are the primary buttons. Where are those machines? Oh, X. What have I done with my... Okay, these machines. I kind of forgot that these were X, Y, A, B. Zabby. So that makes it seem like primary button, I really want X and A, but that seems like it's the same. And then secondary button. So does that mean the primary button is the same for the two controllers? That seems a little dumb. must be a way to not do that. OpenVR Oculus, the primary is YB. Yeah, those are invert. That's an annoying thing when you use the. I think that's what it's describing here because this is how it used to be. These two buttons were inverted on this same controller, whether you were using the Oculus, like this Oculus framework, or whether you're using OpenVR. They got flipped. Kind of obnoxious. But that's okay. No problem, right? We don't even care at this point. We just want primary button. So how do we actually check this? Oh, you can do haptics now too. Send haptic impulse. Cool. The thing that's interesting about that, I'm glad that Unity added a wrapper for it because I don't know if this has changed, but the original Oculus way of doing haptics was audio, I believe. Like you would send it essentially an audio signal to get things to buzz. So yeah, so this is a fancy thing. So we could make it where things rumbled. Kind of prefer to not use a duration though. It'd be kind of nice to just turn it on at a specific amplitude and let it shake. XR input through the legacy input system. Button or access, skip button. So if I don't use legacy, what am I supposed to use? Input for Oculus. Nope. Oh yeah, this is if you're using like, right. I'm still a little confused. Is there not some... You can access XR input features via the legacy input access button. It's a little weird that they call it legacy though, because that's... What's the alternative other than that experimental thing? Does that actually... Am I missing something? Why is this the legacy input system? Isn't it the only input system except for the highly experimental new one? Anybody? Feature usage, feature type, those are the legacy input indices. I'm confused. Welcome to confusion. The button or access value can be retrieved with, yeah, okay. But just based on the index? Legacy input index. You're freaking me out with these terms here, Unity. Like, how else do you use these? Oops. They're weirding me out. They're weirding me out with these, with saying legacy and not providing any examples. That's just for tracking, not buttons. Hardware feature, interaction type, button ID. So do I just use button ID. Let's just use that because I'm, unless, oh, you know, maybe those are mapped in like here, wherever that lives now. Like, it's probably just fire 1. Joystick button 0 is probably just fire 1. So probably if I just looked for fire 1, it would be fine. Whatever that syntax is. This one, just fire 1. Oh yeah, okay, so that'll be the, then what's the trigger though? What's the trigger? That has some goofy long name that we don't want to use? Oh yeah, that's gonna suck too. The triggers are analog and we want to use them as buttons. Oh no. I think that's true. Primary index trigger. I don't think is a button. Yeah, it's a joystick axis. Lame. I kind of forgot about this. I don't think there's a handy dandy way to at least there didn't used to be. So there's a trigger touch, there's a trigger near touch, but it is a an analog thing, not a button. So it has an axis. Well, shucks. So the slightly annoying thing about that is basically instead of getting a digital 0 to 1 or 0 or 1, like, or a nice button up or button down, you can't. You have to watch an analog value and watch for it to cross a threshold to decide if you want to use it as a as a button click rather than an analog value, which I feel like most people do. I mean, I feel like that's a very frequent way to use this. So it's a little, seems weird to me that that's not something that's just supported, is a way to say like, you know what, let's just treat this like a button. Because that's probably how many people are going to be using it. So that's okay. We just need something like, we just have to watch for it to cross the threshold, I guess. Like, sure, it's not a number between 0 and 1. It's definitely a number between 0 and 1. It just means that there's no like easy just, oh, give me the button state. You would have to, or like there's no like easy button down or button up. You can check the button state. You just have to then say like, okay, take that analog value between 0 and 1 and decide if you want to trigger it. And do you trigger it when it crosses 0.5 or do you cross it when it crosses 0? You know what I mean? Like it's just not a, it is treated like a joystick axis value rather than a button value. So none of the button functions work, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I've had to do this before and it's not that big of a deal. It's just slightly annoying. Like, that's probably still really fine for the way that I'm doing this, because we would just do get the axis is greater than 0.5, and then this will be what, 9 and 10. String axis name. Can I not? Do I have to have an axis name? Oh, I think it's something silly. It's like joy axis 0 or something. Like I think I can put the whole string, but I don't think I have to put this in. I think I can just do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have to set it here. Joystick axis, x-axis, y-axis, but this is the 9th axis, or the... I thought you could just do axis as a string and not have to use the goofball made up. Actually, was that value normalized 0 to 1? Or was it -1 to... Where's my chart? Yeah, this is 0 to 1 for those. Thumbstick gets -1 to 1, but triggers look like they get 0 to 1. Get axis. I thought you could like manufacture a string. Or not. This is not a big deal. I just don't, I would prefer to not use those goofy, long, made up names. I thought there was a way, like with buttons, I think you could say like joystick button 0. But I might be wrong. Well, hey, look, these people are doing the exact thing. Greater than 0. Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. We'll just use the cool name. Which I guess is a bad name. Oculus cross-platform primary index trigger and secondary index trigger, I guess, are the two that I would like. I don't like that. I would rather put it in as a number. And that's fine because we'll flip the states there. What I won't do this really won't work anymore. And we will launch the baby by hitting return or I think it's just called Fire One, right? Right? Fire One, yeah, okay. So something like that should maybe work. And then we shall do XR settings. This may not work. I feel like all this Oculus stuff is super flaky in 2018.3. We shall see. So let's turn our trackers back on. What did I do with them? These guys. Hopefully that doesn't crash the stream while Oculus takes over. Okay, we've got our little friend. This seemingly is working. Let me grab that machine. Look at that guy. Okay, so there's a hand. There's a hand. Trigger, trigger. Hey. There was definitely a stutter there. It was not good. The first instantiation of that sphere. But that's weird because all subsequent instantiations seem very speedy. Okay, so if I do this and then I click. It's like I'm blowing bubbles. Probably I should just pick the vector away from his face and just have it kind of go away from his head instead of it into his head. Or I guess I could add some for it. Whoa, uh-oh. Did I crash? I did crash. What did I do? What have I done? Oh, I guess there's a scenario in which I could have killed it, but still... Yeah, it could be dead, so I need to make sure that it is alive. I didn't check for null. Rookie mistake. Okay, so let's make that look more like something. So what I would like, one of the things I wanted to do was have material property block support for the planets so that they could be rendered as instances, but that might be too much trouble. Are you building the Oasis? Hello, Future Artistic. It's kind of, I mean, it's a very simplified version of the Oasis. If all that you could do in the Oasis was control a weird cartoon sun and all he could do was have baby planets, then yes. Then that's exactly what I'm doing here. Left or right and not null. You're sure right about that. If it's not null and one of these. I'm glad you were paying attention because I wasn't. I was testing you. Or were you testing me? It's hard to say. Okay, what is this guy doing now? Okay, so we can make these things. That's great, but they don't look very good and they don't really do anything. Man, I really wanted to make like a weird planet shader, but it is not going to work with the outlines. I gotta reevaluate my life. Maybe there's a way to do it without stencils. I don't think there is. If I could draw before the opaque layer, I could do it. This is a pickle. This is a slight dilemma. Because it would be fun to write weird procedural little planetary shaders. In fact, let's just try one. I know almost nothing about the... Give me a baby shader. Let's get baby over here. Render the planet. Well, the problem is I'd want to do the same thing with the planet, where I would want the planet to have an outline too, so that the planet would simultaneously. Because really, the only thing that I'm doing special, the only reason I even needed to make like a special copy of the default lit shader is to draw to the stencil while it draws, because then I have to reference that stencil next time when I draw the outlines. Because it's weird. I don't know if I've explained this fully on this stream, but the way that I have to do the outlines is the outlines are drawn after the fact. And so the way you do it is you draw all the normal stuff, and then you draw all the normal stuff, but bigger and tinted white. And then you use the stencil from the first draw to cut holes in the new stuff. And it's a pretty weird thing. 2 separate copies of the same planet. One is the outline, the other is the fill. That's essentially how it works. So the way that stuff currently goes is, and it took a while to get here, so that's why I'm kind of like slightly hesitant to redo it, but whatever. This was me. I wanted a really efficient way to do it that still supported like a lot of nice Unity things like batching and instancing. And I wanted to use the new lightweight render pipeline, which is only single pass. So you can't do 2-pass stuff the way you would normally do an outline like this. And so the general idea is this. First, we just draw the normal, draw everything normal. And then on the camera, we have this InQ. Wait, how is this even working without a reference to the material? What? Now I'm very confused. We InQ, we do this thing, and what this does is say, hey, lightweight render pipeline, I want to throw in my own pass. And unfortunately, you can only latch on to like certain parts of the render process, and one of them is after the opaque pass, and there isn't really a before opaque pass, unfortunately. But so what happens is after the opaque pass, meaning just like after the normal world is drawn, we draw the whole normal world again with an alternate pass inside the shader. So normally the shader gets drawn with this, just like this normal lit version. And the only thing I changed here was to add drawing to the stencil here, this drawing to the stencil buffer here. Otherwise, it's exactly like it was stock. And then the other thing I added later is this outline, and this is how it works. Is if I, for example, if I just said always, like always use what's in the stencil buffer, it'll be all white, because it's just saying basically I drew a thing and then I drew on top of that thing. And I have to do it on top. I can't do it underneath, unfortunately. And so that's what basically not equal here just means only draw the outline where we didn't already draw the color. And since the outline is bigger because of this goofy little trick where we just like bloat all of the models essentially, like I could bloat the models more dramatically. Oops. You know, and they would squish out more. Because really I'm just expanding the models and then drawing them on top and then cutting a hole in them. And all that is working well. And I'm relatively pleased with the like look and performance and the general strategy of it. It just means that I can't use the normal trick. Now, to do what you're describing is super easy. It's just not super performant, at least in the way that I'm trying to do it, would be I'd basically have the planet, and then I'd have a copy of the planet that was slightly bigger, that just drew itself inside out, and that's all it would take. Like it'd be very simple. You'd end up drawing the same thing twice. It's just when you do that, you lose some of the performance benefits, like batching and instancing. So. But maybe I'll switch back to that, because that's what I was doing initially. In fact, you can do it you don't have to do it real time. Like when I was first making these models, I would just make a circle and then an inside out version and flip the normals in Maya. I think even inside the head that still exists. Yeah, I still have that inside out backwards model is still part of the model. I just wanted to see if I could do it real time in a performant way. And get maybe some slightly nicer results, but they don't work very well. You wouldn't even actually have to draw it twice. I don't know. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we don't really need like real-time goofy shaders on here. Maybe I can just come up with some textures that I like. And then that would be fine. Because what was I imagining? I was imagining really just some noise and then smearing that noise left to right, like an old, very simple way to do stuff like that. This is going to be more more dense than I probably actually want it. But like if I was just going to do it as a texture, and I was going to do it in Photoshop, really I want to do this. Maybe I would want to do this in Illustrator. Man, but it'd be cool if it was a shader, because then it'd be weird and randomized and animating. But like one way to do this texture that would be easy would be render some clouds. And then blur them like a motion blur, a very strong horizontal motion blur, like that. And then so you get sort of like planet-ish curves. And then you'd want to, there's a couple ways you could do this. Maybe you could do weird, you could maybe do curves. You'd want to do kind of a thresholdy thing if you were going to do it in Photoshop, where you'd have almost like stair-steppy. Just more contrasty, kind of. I guess you could also do like a do something like this, or actually maybe another way to do it would be a posterize. Posterize, isn't that the word I want? Posterize, posterize. What's posterize? Filter gallery. Well, I was gonna do this all in shader. Yeah, or like a cutout kind of thing like this, where you would just know that you would reduce it to... Get out of here. That's not what I wanted. Fit in view, yeah. Maybe do something like that, and then you know it would wrap and it would be fine. And then, you know, go and maybe do some kind of liquefy and add a little bit of warble to it with some kind of warpy tool. Or smudge it around by hand. Where even is anything anymore? Photoshop, where did you put smudginess? I'll never find it. I'll never see it again. 3D material drop tool. What are these fancy new tools? Smudge, like a giant smudges. This is not going to look great. But you know, something like that. That general idea, and then take it in and throw it on and tint it, something like that. But I thought it would be cooler to do that in real time. Maybe we just paint something up in Substance. I really should have done this all in Illustrator, so it could be more graphic-y. I don't think this is going to look great. Maybe it was better like that. We'll save it. and try it, and then probably promptly delete it because it needs more work. Look, that's a full hard drive. I've got a new hard drive on the way. This is the baby texture for babies. Everything else we use Substance, even though I'm not even actually sure we're using any of those things right now. Now I'm mad about this rendering technique, even though it was a lot of work. Now I feel like I don't like it anymore. I don't want to use it. I'm too angry at it. Materials, we should have some planets, and we should be able to throw the baby texture on. How's that gonna look? Probably not great. It looks okay. It's just too dark. Probably want some emission. Is it the emission color or is it the occlusion color? I also really broke the inspector. Emission seems like it's not actually emitting. Can I break emission? Very possible. I'm gonna ignore these problems. I'm gonna ignore all these problems for the moment, and we'll just make a simple baby using one of our planet shaders. Will just become a baby shader and be a nice blue-green. I should probably decide what this thing is going to be. I could see it being a musical thing. I could see it being some kind of game. I could also see it being a kind of thing that I just like work on for a little while and then it just disappears. I gotta stop doing that though. I gotta start actually making things. Look at that beautiful color. That's a beautiful baby. I did add the so this could have like its higher up stencil ref. And a skinnier outline. I was thinking a little bit in terms of like some weird cosmology thing. So the project that I started on before I got totally distracted on this was supposed to be, when I started making those pulsing spheres, was a musical thing where maybe I should just switch to that. Maybe I should just, I kind of want to put a pin in this, like get this to some point where I'm like, okay, this is a thing. It's a complete thought instead of half a thought. But the real idea was that you're in some beautiful dark void and there's some glowing Big Bang frozen in time, and you can reach into it and just pull out, and you'll like pull out suns and stars and moons, and they'll all be interconnected and they'll make music. And I think I still want to do that, but for now I just want to do something with this baby. I can come up with some clever way around this stencil problem. Like how could I add a pass? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I also don't remember how. And this new, interesting. The new prefab world is a little wild. It's a pretty weird one. I'm definitely not used to that yet. Okay, we've got a baby. Now the baby will be beautiful, or at least not hideous. You got a cute little guy. I like the way the pluses are looking. I think they look pretty good. Okay, so we can make spheres and then send them off. I guess I could have a I definitely don't like the random launch. We need something a little better than that. Also, when you make it, it shouldn't just appear. It should like manifest itself in some way. Oh, one's coming right at me. Kind of like it when they come right at me. So if we got like the if we got the forward vector from the sun and basically just launched it wherever the sun was looking, I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe. That would be easy enough. We'll just pass the head in along with the hands, maybe, to the spawner. And then I think we just need head dot forward. And then let the baby take a maybe. The spawner then wants head, which is actually called hello for some reason, because that's just how we started the project. I think that's what gets oriented. Maybe? Maybe, perhaps. Oh, okay. Well, we just need to invert it, I guess. Is there a backwards? That would be very handy, but I don't think there is. Lame. So oh man, what do we need to do here? How do we just invert that, like invert the look vector of the, you can invert a vector, pretty sure. Reflect, is that what I want? No, I thought there was like an inverse. Oh, can I just do this? Maybe I'm making things too complicated. I put on the wrong thing. I meant to put on this thing and I put on the other thing. Whoa. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's pretty fun. This is the origin of the universe. Okay, let's just do like one more little thing. I think let's do a thing where particles. Where do you want the particles? I want to make it so that the hue of the baby is a function of its scale. Real quick. Watch the video to see myself on camera? Oh no. I did make a very silly video of myself dancing with the sun. You get a plan. I know, everybody. Yeah, this is how this is the origin of the universe. This is how it worked. Let's see. I want some... Baby needs like a set hue. Oh no, I don't know about this. Just a god, not the god. Okay, so what we would do here is this gets annoying, but not too annoying. We just need a reference to the renderer and all that stuff. Let's do it in a not good way to start with. I know I shouldn't do this on every call of the function. Mesh renderer. And then we need like, it's just should just be like render.material.set color, new color, and then new color is going to be color new color equals color.hsv to RGB. And I think we need a... Okay, that's easy. I need the old color. I'll just get the old color just to have it. Because we'll keep the same... Oh no, this is annoying. It's actually annoying. Let's just do this for now. Because it's slightly annoying to break out a color. It's pretty easy to make a color out of hue saturation value, but it's slightly annoying to go the other way. Only slightly, but let's do it this way first. So... I'm doing all these very inefficient things. That's fine. Nice room for refactor when we do stuff like this, where we should just get these references once and not repeatedly, but that's okay. And the baby will have a set color, have a set hue. That is really just... We could tidy that up later. So that should just, how's that gonna work? I don't think I can use these. It's a little lame. I don't think the controllers track unless the headset is awake, which is slightly annoying. So even though the headset works when I'm not using it, oh no, they do. I thought they didn't do that. I was wrong. Ooh. So I probably need like a minimum size. Because at the smallest it should be red, but I can't even, like, I'm not set up very well for this. Oh, I'm not actually as excited about this as I thought I would be. At least I have some different colors. It's also just not great when they come at you and you just hit the clipping plane. Not ideal. Ooh, like setting little birds free. I kind of want him to just drop them, like plop them down. Whoop. That would be sort of funny, actually. Like, what if we were just above a planet? Like, if there was a planet down here and we're in outer space above the planet and the sun is just like plopping stuff down. Wow. I kind of like that. So I don't know that I've really seen this. I mean, I've seen variations of, you know, sort of experimental little puppet puppet mirror things in VR, but I don't know that I've seen like a really fully realized version of that where you're like, that's the aim. Like, I'm controlling an avatar, but that avatar is me and it's just a mirror of me. There'd be a lot to get better about the way the hands worked, and I'd want orientation of the wrists and all of those things that just are not here right now. I could also do something where, like, when I pushed other buttons, that whatever the thing we were making could change. Ooh. Whoa. It is a little, this is a very simple interaction, but it is kind of satisfying. One of the main rendering thing I don't like right now with these outlines is ooh, look, that's weird when the outline clips that one little dash. How I can have outlines in front of the face, and I can have outlines in kind of in front of other objects now. If I can reach any. I can't reach any. But how the arm like doesn't sort of self-occlude with its own outline. It's a little jarring to look at that, I feel like. It's not horrible, but I feel like it's not quite ideal. I also did kind of like this. Maybe I should switch this back to more of a like cel-shaded thing, because it looked kind of good like that. It looked good flat. I haven't tried it in cel-shaded, but if I just did something flat with a very simple toon-ish shader, I might actually like that more than the 3D volume. Also, I've got all these X's everywhere that were originally a stylistic choice in the original drawing, but maybe those should have some relevance or meaning. So there's a version of this I could imagine a little bit that is very much of like the Who Framed Roger Rabbit Toontown. Like as soon as you get to Toontown and the whole world is like everything's singing "Smile, Darn Ya, Smile." Gotta watch that. That'll be our reference. Oops. I think it's called "Smile, Darn You, Smile." When all the tunes sing... Yeah, is this the first trip to Toontown? Okay, stop the music. Hold the phone. It's Eddie's return to Toontown. Get everything dancing. Like I could sort of imagine our outer space, like, kind of dancing. We wouldn't have all these characters, but we could have like dancing little dancing geometry. What a good movie. The movie's a masterpiece. The movie saved animation. Okay. Got distracted. Got a little distracted. It's okay. Color change should be inverse, like how a balloon does when you blow it up. Dark to light as it stretches. Well, so dark to light, you think the value should change? Yeah. So like maybe the hue, I don't know. I see what you're saying. Like it would start small. Like we could, instead of just setting the hue, set the value as well, so it would brighten up. Maybe you randomly select the hue, like every new planet is going to be its own hue, and it would just be a little darker or lighter in value as it stretched. I could see that. What in the world is this thing going to be? It almost looks a little like a thing. I mean, it kind of looks like we got something here. Oh, those arms are having a problem. It actually looks kind of satisfying. This kind of simple geometry is very much my style, and I just haven't done anything. But I haven't done anything quite like this in VR, and I'm kind of into it. I think it looks pretty nice. Like, it's nice to just see the nice crisp geometry. The outlines look pretty good. All that kind of stuff. So, do we go very flat and cell shady? I don't know. Let's see. How long are we going? Hour 48. I didn't mean to go much more than 2 hours today. So is there any other small thing worth biting off? Still would like to add the outlines back to the dashes. Make the dashes actual cubes. Like, make that in Maya so it could be manifold geometry or non-manifold. I get them backwards. Whatever it isn't. What the opposite of whatever it is right now, because the outlines don't work on it right now. The planets, I kind of just was imagining those as I don't know, almost like a cartoon Jupiter. Jupiter? Like, not unlike this. These are creepy. That guy's a creep. Kind of like this one, but I don't want secondary outlines in there, but I do like that. Something kind of like this. Just very soft contrast, a little bit abstract. Stuff like this that I feel like would be an interesting challenge to come up with in a shader, but not too hard. I think you could do it with like a color ramp kind of thing. Like a gradient ramp thing, where you'd give like some sort of hard gradient image with very hard edges and then sort of ramp a grayscale value across that. I think could be nice. Also, I was imagining something a little like this with some warbles, which you could do all that with noise, I think. This looks gross. This does not look like a planet. This looks like a creature made of meat. This looks like a meat creature wrapped in bandages with one nipple sticking out. So I'm going to say we don't want to do that. I'm going to say that is definitely not what we're going for. We could do something a little more painterly like this. This would be a little easier to do in Substance. Not the faces. I don't think any of these faces are going to happen. I'm just thinking about the stripes. Oh, it's a weird one. These kind of stripes, almost mummy-ish, I kind of like. Kind of like these. Although they look like dripping blood. Man, this meat nipple is creeping me out. Not a fan of the meat nipple. Gross. It's gross. These don't really read as planets to me. You got to be kind of careful because some of these really like look like mummies, not planets. That guy's pretty cute. I do like this one. I like this style. It's good style. Well, so if we wanted to, so there's a version of this that would be more like you want the lit simple or just kind of unlit, like very flat, which I kind of like it. I think that I did a little bit of that while I was figuring out the outlines. There's also simple lit. I'm not as into, but this would be pretty easy to make into a toon-ish shader, I think. I haven't written a shader like that, but it seems like it should be easy. Like you're just round, yeah, kind of rounding to a set band of values. Maybe you like divide the, yeah, it'd almost be like a posterize effect, I guess, or like that cutout effect where you'd be reducing to a number of colors instead of a smooth grayscale value. You would just be reducing it to like some arbitrary number of grayscale values. Does this even come with, I think Unity ships with any kind of toon shader. I feel like it used to once upon a time, but none of those shaders would work with this lightweight render pipeline showcase shader particle additive for now. Very fancy. There's something to this for sure. What would be the way that you do that? Could we easily get into that? I think we can't easily tear it up because it wouldn't be too hard, but it does reference the fragment shader is in another file that gets sourced. We could make a copy of that too and mess with it. Must be in this forward pass, split forward pass. That's a pretty cute one. Ooh, that one has nice, the specular highlights of that one are nice. So I feel like it shouldn't be this hard to write, right? Like this, it shouldn't be that complicated. I would maybe like want more more levels of gradation, or however you want to put it. Basically other, not just dark and light, but because that would be, actually it seems like it should be super easy. Like it's, you're above or below a threshold and it's going to be a hard line. Yeah, like this. Like it's just saying like greater than or less than some value, in this case the dot product, I guess. Then add some ambient, but I feel like you don't, it wouldn't have to be that simple. Like you could have more steps basically. The hard specular is interesting. Some rim lighting, outline. How are you doing that? Is that just a super hard rim light? Okay, so they're doing the outline as a hard rim light. Which maybe that would be good enough. Maybe I should just do that. So the rim light is really just like an angle of incidence. Is that the right term for that? It's just like the angle of the camera. Yeah. The normal versus the view. Is that good enough? I kind of like that. I want outlines kind of though. Yeah, the drum light. Well, they did specifically change the rim light, so it would be, yeah. Looks pretty good. Some hard rim lighting. Yep. That could work here. I just like, I mean, the whole exercise here really was to take a drawing that I had never intended to make into a 3D thing and just see like, well, how would I do that? And that was a more textural kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna call it a day. We made some progress today. What did we actually do today? We just threw babies in space. That's all we accomplished. I need to just think about what those babies need to do. Like, what is this guy? What's the sun doing up there? What does the sun do all day? I don't know the answer. He just makes fun things for an outer space party. I think might actually be the only answer. Maybe everything needs to be kind of orbiting and dancing and being ridiculous. I don't know, Jacqueline. I don't know what the answer is, but I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna think about some more things. Did Backblaze start? I thought I paused Backblaze. Did I actually make it to the? Trying to trick me. Shooting stars could be nice. Certainly flush this environment out a little bit. Maybe come up with some reason for the dotted lines or some reason for the X. It was really just supposed to be. I mean, here's another thought. Like, the whole thing was supposed to just be like a whimsical illustration, and maybe that's all this needs to be. And I just need to take it a little further forward to just be like, this is the thing that it is. It's just a nice little tableau. You have a little moment where you get to be the sun. It doesn't need to be complex or overthought as far as interaction or gameplay. And then I could have a suite of those. It almost seems like it needs to be musical though, because it is kind of fun to dance when you're the sun. Maybe the sun plays the solar system like a sequencer of some kind. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't have all the answers. I need to come up with some answers, however. So, we made it through a stream, and people came by today. Thanks for coming by, everyone. Thanks, of course, to Draclin. We had Vix hang out for a while. We had Chubby Bum Goblin. We had Future Artistic. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Thank you to anyone lurking as well. And I think that's going to do it. We'll stream again very soon. Draclin, I will be excited to see how your cooking game is going. Now I forgot that I was a laundry specialist. That actually means I need to go fold my laundry. So I will fold laundry. I don't even know what to say after that. I don't like laundry is a bad chore. It's a bad chore. I hope you're not doing laundry tonight. Goodbye.